Welcome back to some more battles. We are in the Spring Cup again, and we're going to be using the team featuring the Gastrodon paired with the Galarian Weezing and the Tinkaton in the back. So let's see if we can make this work. We got the Gastro versus the Ferrothorn. Not the lead we need. We switch out into the Weezing. Our Weezing is using Brutal Swing and Sludge. So it looks like we did get our opponent to switch out into something more favorable for us, as if we were using Overheat, we had a potential to debuff us. So now we can throw these Brutal Swings very, very quickly. So much so that we did end up grabbing a shield, and that's pretty good. They go for the Scald, and now we're just going to go for the Gastro farm down. Our opponent does get to another move here. We're just going to let it go. Scald does a significant amount of damage. It actually gets the debuff, and we're going to be forced to switch out here into the Tinkaton, and we get met with a Jellicent. Jellicent versus the Tinkaton. Who's going to be able to win this in the 2-1 shield? They decide to shield early. Our opponent here does elect to throw a move here. Our opponent does go for the Surf. So kind of a bait, but we need this Tinkaton pretty healthy, honestly. And then they're going to be able to get to another move here. This is going to be another Surf. So looks like they are going to be able to get both our shields with the minimal energy, but we go for the Play Rough, and it does take out the our Jellicent. Now we have this Ferrothorn to deal with. Our opponent did use a Flash Cannon, and that's a significant amount of energy. However, we do get to this Earth Power, and it does not KO, and we don't get the debuff. So GG's to our opponent. Unfortunately, the alignment wasn't on our side. We unfortunately had to use a bunch of energy with our Tinkaton to take out their Ferrothorn. All right. Next, we're going to have the Gastro versus the Weezing. Great matchup here. Let's see what they switch into. So their save swap is the Cradily. This Cradily is going to be able to debuff us, but we're going to fire back with our Sludge. We are going to be pretty spammy, so we're going to see if we're going to be able to get a shield out of this at any point. Our opponent does finally throw the shield, and then we're going to have to just decide if we want to shield here or let this go. We decide to shield here so that we can... Okay, they actually swap out into their Jellicent, and we're going to go into our Tinkaton here. Tinkaton is going to be in the one shield scenario. We're going to go for this Play Rough. This Play Rough will get through. And our opponent here is throwing these moves pretty quickly. We're going to just tank that Surf. Looks like we cannot get to another Play Rough, and we have to just throw the Heavy Slam for the chip. Our opponent does get to another Surf, and we're just going to tank that. So we get the energy advantage. We know they still have the Cradily, and they still have the Weezing. So we have to shield here. They go for the Rock Tomb bait. And at this point, we're going to try to catch a move or get them to use a shield here. They decide to bank the move, and now we have this Weezing versus Weezing action. We have so much residual energy. Let's see if we can get to another Sludge. Nope. Our opponent does get their Sludge before we get to our own. And at this point, we gotta get to 2 moves, and their opponent is able to get to another Sludge, unfortunately. GG's to our opponents. That was a little bit tough. Maybe in hindsight, we could have gone to Tinkaton versus their Cradily, and then we would have had our Weezing for their Jellicent, but of course we didn't know Jellicent was in the back. All right, we got the Quagsire versus our Gastrodon here. We're just going to stay in, as this Quagsire is extremely good against our backline. They reveal Aqua Tail version, so we are going to be able to tank these. Earth Power does go through, surprisingly. And now this is more manageable, as this Quagsire is just basically going to try to spam moves, and at least we get it out of the way. We know that our backline doesn't have to worry about this anymore. Where do we want the energy advantage? We decided to go into the Weezing. Weezing with a little bit of energy advantage is always good. And our opponent does bring in their own Weezing. So this is a good sign because that means they don't have a great answer to this Weezing. We're just going to tank this first move. Ends up being the Sludge. And now we want to apply the pressure. This second Sludge here doesn't get the KO, but we get the farm down. That's really good for us. And that's exactly the case. They end up having the Shadow Cacturne, and Cacturne unfortunately runs into double fairies in the back for us. You don't have to worry about this particular end game because we have 2 shields still. We just double shield and farm down, no problem, and down goes their Cacturne. So GG's to our opponent. Unfortunately for them, 2 shield Cacturne did not work out, especially since we did get the right alignment. All right, now we got the Gastrodon versus the Feraligatr. Okay, Feraligatr pretty spamming. Our opponent is going to be able to throw a move here before we get to our Earth Power. We decided to let the first one go, and now it comes down to this decision right here. We go for the bait. Let's see if we get the shield. We do grab that shield, and they're just going to throw it immediately. So we're just going to let this go, and now we're just going to take the shield advantage with our Weezing. This Weezing here, unable to get to this brutal swing as they win the cap tie. Well, actually, they didn't get the cap tie. They just got to the move first. We are able to fire off these brutal swings still. The brutal swings chunking away at this Ferrothorn. The Ferrothorn is not really dealing any fast move pressure. This is basically just free damage at this point. And they're going to throw this Power Whip, which allows us to get to multiple moves here as their Bullet Seeds are really not doing anything. We go for the Brutal Swing. Taking out the Ferrothorn is very good. We swap out immediately. They already had a Hydro Cannon, so now we have the end game of Cacturne again versus our Tinkaton, and this is trouble for our opponent as we do outpace them. We can just shield here, and then we're going to be able to just get to another move. It doesn't have to be the play rough. This Heavy Slam here should be enough to take out this Cacturne, as Cacturne is pretty fragile and we're going to be able to farm down. So GG's to our opponent, able to close the game with the Tinkaton again and getting a favorable matchup with the Cacturnes floating around. I will say Tinkaton is okay in tankiness, but definitely requires a shield, I believe. Oh, okay. Our opponent here is either lagging or just unfortunately did not want to play that one out. So check out the team if you haven't already and let us know if you enjoyed the video.